than to believe in a creator who started it all. I think it's getting intense.
That last point about faith versus chance was a real cliffhanger.
Right. Well, next, the skeptic says everything they've seen comes from something before it, not like, poof, created from nothing by God.
Ah, the classic nothing comes from nothing idea. Tough to argue with that.
It is, but the believer says, hold on, just because you haven't seen it
Doesn't mean...
doesn't mean it didn't happen. They're saying you can't prove a negative.
Like saying, I've never seen a unicorn, so they don't exist.
Exactly. Bad logic. Plus, the believer says the skeptic is only looking at things inside the universe.
Okay.
What about what caused the universe itself? Back to those dominoes.
Right, you might see him falling, but what about the first push?
Exactly. Now the skeptic throws a curveball. They say whenever we explain something, it's natural causes replacing God, never the other way around.
The God of the gaps thing. Science explains more so there's less room for God?
You got it. But the believer says God's not there to fill in what science hasn't figured out yet.
So then, what?
God is the reason behind it all. They use this analogy of a smartphone.
Okay, now how does a smartphone fit in?
They're saying just because you know how it works
Yeah.
doesn't mean nobody designed it. Actually, the more complex it is,
Yeah,
the more likely there's a designer.
I see. So just because we're figuring out the science doesn't mean God's gone. It's different levels of explanation.
Exactly.